Youorns. Greetings, fellow Watford fans. Omar here, and it's time for the Youorns 10-minute take on Watford 1, Cardiff City 3. And bravo to Cardiff. I give them credit. Cardiff showed you more fight than the team that was playing at home tonight. It was a shambolic display again from the Watford Football Club that we have supported since birth. We love this club. We care about this club. But the players and some people in this club don't seem to care very much about the fans. And that is very sad indeed. And the players' performance in this game tonight reflected a lot of that, I think. Watford, who got off to a very good start after just 11 minutes, Ismail Assar, getting his 10th goal of the season with a well-worked goal. Although it was a sublimely worked goal by Watford. Everybody got involved, and it was the finishing touch, the assist by Keenan Davis to Ismail Assar, who had a tap-in after, as I said, just 11 minutes of play. And after that, Watford just went home. They went on the beach and said, our job is done here. Let's sit back and relax. And what Watford did in the rest of this game, at least especially the first half, was sit back and allow Cardiff to get 3 goals. Cardiff, a team who coming into this contest were 4th from bottom and were the team in the championship that no one scored any goals fewer than. That's right. To put it another way, more clearly, Cardiff were the lowest scoring team in this championship. They had just 34 goals in the 41 games they played going into this game tonight against Watford. 34. No one has scored fewer goals this season in the championship than Cardiff. And Cardiff were able to look like Manchester City tonight off the back of some shambolic defending, some shambolic team defending, and a Watford side that thought that the job was done after 11 minutes. Well, if this is a bunch of professional footballers, they really need to learn that professional football dictates that you do not stop playing after 11 minutes. You have to play through the full 90 or 95 minutes or however minutes that the game goes on. This Watford side did not turn up the afterburners. They didn't play as a team after that very well-worked team goal. And they just decided to play like a bunch of selfish individuals. That's what they did. They played as a team for 11 minutes. Most notably, that goal that Saar scored. That was a team-oriented goal. And after that, these players said, we're not going to play together as a team now. We've got a 1-0 lead. Now we can afford to be selfish. We did the bare minimum. We got our goal. And now we can be all a bunch of individuals again. Let's show off. Let's do the flare passes. Let's just show what skills we've got. Let's now no longer employ the fundamentals of football. Let's not put a tackle in. Let's not be present for good quality corners. Let's not do the job. Let's decide that we can't even beat the first man at a corner. The Watford corners tonight were generally atrocious. But that is the same old talk, the same old song, like the Four Tops would say. It's the same old song. Every week or every other week, we have to look at a Watford men's first team that doesn't do even the bare minimum anymore. I mean, the players are mugging off the fans. Forget the club doing it. The players are doing it. The players know that their wages are going to be safe. And when that equalizing goal came in, it couldn't have been any worse defense-wise for Watford until the second goal went in. And then you thought then it couldn't be any worse. It couldn't get any worse than that second goal that went in until the third goal went in. And these Watford players stood there and saw a Cardiff player in a side that's 4th from bottom have all the time in the world to do his acrobatics and a degree of excellence to get that goal in. did his job well. And they stood there and watched like they were at the circus. Oh, actually, they were at the circus because Vicarage Road now has become a circus. It's become a joke. It's become a kangaroo court where you eject fans for speaking their mind, where you eject fans for complying with the banner specifications and for using language that is not offensive, language that doesn't have any swear words in it. Vicarage Road now has become an absolute circus. And the fans now have had enough. You can see that some of the fan base is not attending these games at the Vic. Now, whether or not some of the Watford fans who did not attend this game, there were lots of empty seats. Whether they decide to renew their season tickets or not is another story. The club did a decent job of freezing the tickets for next season on the season ticket prices, but the bottom line is that right now, I think for some fans is not enough. Not when we've been given broken promise after broken promise, when we see performance after performance like the one we saw tonight. Fans have had enough. And there'll always be Watford fans who will go to every game and say, rah, rah, rah. You know, I say rah, 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 but I also say that things need to change at this club. The players' attitudes need to change. The way that the club does some of its business needs to change. The way that the club treats the fan base these days must change. And these Watford players who sat back after being up 1-0 thinking job done, sat on that 1-0 lead and allowed Cardiff to come into this game and get 3 goals that they had no business scoring off of a witless defense. This team decided to turn up the volume in the second half when it was too late. And they frantically scrambled to get 1 goal and then 2 goals. That's not the way football gets played. You can't do that. You're not a Manchester City. You're not an Arsenal either. You can't just turn it on and off. And now the intensity that you had for certain periods of that second half as you tried to chase this game now come into play. Why didn't you have that intensity and that dedication to your task in the first half when you were up 1-0? Why didn't you continue to keep pressing? Why didn't you say to yourself as a team, we're not satisfied with this? 1-0 is not enough. We need 2-0. We need 3. In fact, let's see if we can get 4 at the break. That team out there that we saw tonight doesn't have that mentality, doesn't want to have that mentality, doesn't care to have that mentality. I think some of the players think that, well, we'll just do it in the second half. This is Cardiff. Cardiff aren't anybody. You know, Cardiff, they're in the bottom 4. We can do this. We don't have to worry about Cardiff. Hey, we beat Bristol City the other day, and they're much better off than Cardiff are on the table, so maybe we can just do even less than we did against Bristol City on Saturday. And we'll get the 3 points, even though we're down 3-1. Football doesn't work that way. Football has never worked that way. And as a result now, what you have is the same shambolic, shocking, terrible performance from a team of players that are a bunch of individuals, selfish ones at that. And the sad thing is that this becomes a very toxic affair. You had Ryan Andrews, who I thought did as well as he could, even though he was not as good in the game tonight as he was in the last 2. He gets infected by this. This is an 18-year-old. These players now have become so selfish, they don't even think, at least in my view, from the outside looking in. They don't even care about someone like a Ryan Andrews. He's 18. He's got his whole life and career ahead of him. And this is the toxic situation that he's now become a part of. A team of players who are a team of selfish individuals, lazy, not working hard enough for each other, You work as a team for the first 11 minutes and get that team-oriented goal, and then you turn into selfish individuals after that for the remainder of the game. And then you try to force the game and get desperate and force feed the game that's already beyond you. You're already 3-1 down. Why do you wait until you're 3-1 down to start playing? Why didn't you give us that same passion and urgency as you kept bombing down toward the rookery in that second half? Why didn't you do that in the first half when you took the 1-0 lead? And this happened on Saturday against Bristol City. They sat on a 1-0 lead. They totally sat off, and Bristol City had the lion's share of the possession. Bristol City just didn't do anything with it. And in fact, that happened tonight as well. Watford had the lion's share of the possession. It was about 71, 72%, 73%, I think, by the end of the game. Throughout the game, they had 70, 72, 73% plus possession. And I think they finished around 70% or thereabouts. And they did nothing with that possession. Nothing after that first goal. These players, many of them, are going to be gone after the season's over. Those fans now who think that the playoffs are still available, they're not available. And if you are one that lives by mathematically alive, let me say this to you. Millwall need just 4 points to make Watford an afterthought. Blackburn need 5 points or thereabouts to make Watford an afterthought. Mathematically, if Blackburn get 5 more points in the remaining 3 or 4 games that they play, Watford are finished. And I told you weeks and months ago now that Watford were not making the playoffs. I told you that weeks and weeks ago. They play Hull City this coming Saturday away, and then they've got 2 more games away to Sunderland, and then they've got the final game at home in this miserable campaign, a second consecutive campaign of misery, of a club that doesn't communicate properly with the fan base, doesn't engage, a club that's in danger, writes Adam Leventhal of The Athletic, of breaching EFL regulations for not engaging with the fan base directly at any point this season. You can read that story in The Athletic, April the 11th, 2023, by Adam Leventhal. This club has got to do better, and these players have got to do better. But look, I've said this over and over again. You've got to now play the youngsters, finish this season off, stop worrying about playoffs, start worrying about what this team is going to look like, what this Watford men's first team is going to look like come the beginning of the 23-24 season. Ben Manga, I'm sure, is going to be doing a lot of work during the summer. He's probably already started that work. I would also say that Helen Acosta has probably already started that work. I look forward to seeing what they're going to do in these next few months, because I'm actually excited about what they could do. But if the money isn't there at this club, and clearly we know about the financial issues at this club, how much can they do? How much can they do? How much power are they being given? And what are the priorities? Because I think if you really wanted an answer to the question of what the priorities are for this Watford men's first team after this appalling display against Cardiff City tonight, one of the things you'd need to see is that defending needs to be fixed at this team, at this club, and this first team, this men's first team. What else needs to be fixed? Trust and communication to the fans. That needs to be fixed. What else needs to be fixed? Players who care about the game of football, who care about playing that football at Watford Football Club. Those are just a few of the things that need to happen in this club and with this men's first team. There's no connection really now with the players toward the fans. There isn't that bond. Even a short few years ago, there was more of a bond between the players and the fans. It's not happening anymore. The last couple of seasons, it's just not there. Everything is a social media statement. Everything is, well, you know, look, it's fine to meet with fans at the Hornet shop and sign autographs. But there needs to be a deeper bond between the players and the fans. Back in the day, that used to happen at Vicarage Road. But those days are gone. And the days of players caring enough to put on a Watford shirt and play their football here, those days are gone. This badge right here means something to us as Watford supporters. It means everything to us as Watford supporters. This is a sacred badge for us. We care so much about this club. And every time we see performances like this from the players, you cannot convince us that they care. They don't care if they keep putting in these performances. It's been going on for 2 seasons now. We support this club proudly. But this club and these players don't seem to care and appreciate the time that the fans take in their hard working lives to support this team and this club. And Watford now has become, as I said, a circus. It's been a circus. And the players are treating it like an absolute joke as well. The players are laughing at this club and they're laughing at the fans. And Cardiff laughed all the way back to South Wales tonight. Did you see Cardiff at the end of this game? And fair play to them. They celebrated as if they had affirmed another season in the championship, and they may well do that now, thanks to this very important win for them. They had more urgency and desperation than these Watford players did. That's the second time, or make it the third time in the last few weeks at the Vic, where you've had a team in the bottom 4 who have fought hard, and done their very best. If you look back to this game, a team that was in the bottom 4, they won tonight against us. If you look back to the game on Good Friday against Huddersfield, who were what? Bottom 3? And look what they did. They were able to get a 3-2 win at the Vic. Just Good Friday, just about 10 whatever days ago it was now. Less than 2 weeks ago. And now again, look back to the game against Wigan. Wigan, bottom of the lot in the championship. They come to the Vic and they get a point against us. So each of those teams I just mentioned, all in the bottom 4, at least before the games tonight. And they all took points from us at the Vic. That's unacceptable. And the performances from this first team of men is unacceptable. I think what needs to happen at the end of the season is a lot of these players have to go. I've said this before. And I think that this game tonight showed you that there is really at this point no redeeming value in these players now. It's toxic, it is infectious, and it's a wildfire of failure, negativity, and selfishness. And quite frankly, that comes from the top. Quite frankly, that is about an owner and a culture that has not been able to get out of its way, and a culture that is not the kind of culture that I believe this club must continue to have. I think that we now, as a football club, are in very dangerous waters, and these players know they're going to be gone, most of them. João Pedro, you can say goodbye to. You can say goodbye to Ismail Assar. You can say goodbye to Hamza Chowdhury. You can say, and he's on loan anyway. You can say goodbye to a lot of these players. Daniel Bachmann, who knows where he's going to be next season? Do people want a different goalkeeper? What about Maduka Okoye? Who knows where he's going to be? He's not really had a chance to play at all. I don't know if he's injured. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. But Maduka Okoye, where's he? Camera's not going to be here next season. Hassan Camera, he was the Graham Taylor player of the season just last season. The whole thing with Courtney House has been a disaster. That's been an absolute disaster. Francisco Sierralta, I know he's playing in the under-21s. Is he going to be back for football at the end of this season? Tom Cleverley, Christian Cabaselli, contracts or not, they got rid of Dan Gosling. That he's gone. What's going on at our club? The players have not put in a real shift except for maybe 3 games all season. And how many games last season? You can count those on one hand. The number of games where Watford huffed and puffed. There were games against Wolves last season where this team, and it was about a year ago around this time, I think it was April of 2022, where the team completely capitulated. 3-0 down in the first 15, 16, 17 minutes, 18 minutes. You have players here last season like Cucho Hernandez. I don't see that passion now. Where's the fire in this team? João Pedro had a terrible game. All these players did. Do you see where the future is with these players? There need to be wholesale changes, and once those get done, we'll at least assess what we've got, what we're working with. But academy players need to be at the heart and the center and the heart and the soul of where this men's first team at Watford goes from here. And they need a manager, whether it's Chris Wilder or someone else, but they need a manager who is going to grow with this team, grow together in an upward trajectory. Now, look, if you ask me, I'd love to see Cisco come back. There are fans who would agree with that. There are fans who would have someone else come in. But Cisco, one thing that you can say about him is that he had a very good relationship with the players, and he had a very good relationship with the fans. And I think this club would do well to think about bringing someone like a Cisco in here again. I think you really, really should think about Cisco, or maybe someone else. If you don't want Cisco back here, someone else who is going to help restitch this culture back together, because really you can't put it on any one person. The club has to be in the position that it wants to really do that with the fan base and rebuild that trust that it has lost with the fan base, because we've been told too many stories. We've been told too many lies. And these players are going to be gone, and they're going to have their wages, and they're going to have all those things coming to them in the form of compensation. That they're set, and they're going to be off the greener pastures. Meanwhile, where is this club going to be in the summer, in September, in November, December of 2023, in January of 2024? Where is this club going to be in May of 2024? Roughly 13 months from now, where is this club going to be? Are they going to be in League One? Are they going to be in the Championship? Are they going to be, like I said, relegated to League One in the end of next season? Are we going to be looking at that? Are we going to be looking at a trip to the playoffs? Are we going to be looking at maybe promotion to the Premier League? There's no promotion next season. We are more likely to have the same old that we've had this season, that we've had in an abject display like this one tonight, than we are ever going to get in terms of closer to the Premier League. Premier League, forget it. We need to rebuild. And if this team decided to restart after that 1-0 lead that they had and recommit to more team football, I wouldn't have been sitting here for the last 10 minutes plus talking to you about a group of selfish footballers. This has been the YouOrns 10-minute take.